Hi students, welcome to the final part of identification of organic functional groups. In this session we are going to discuss about very important compounds that are carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Tough questions will be asked from this part, and that's why it is indispensable to have good understanding about the tests that are pertaining to these compounds. So we are going to look at carbohydrates, lipids and proteins. And in carbohydrate segment, we are going to discuss about the tolerance test, followed by Felling's test and Barfoot test. Felling's test and Barfoot test are almost similar. Then Benedict's test, Molish test, and Logel's iodine test. And in the lipid session, we are going to discuss about green spot test, which can also be called as brown bag test, and Sudan 3 or Sudan 4 red test. Okay, this is a very important test. Then in the proteins part, we are going to discuss about ninhydrin test and biuret test, right, and isoelectric pH test, followed by salt saturation test. Let us look at one after another. So first of all, we are going to look at a test for carbohydrates. The first test is tolerance test. Ammonical silver nitrate solution is known as tolerance reagent, and all reducing sugars including fructose and other compounds containing free keto group will answer this test. And in general, I can say reducing sugars will answer this test, and non-reducing sugars like sucrose, raffinose will not answer. So when reduced sugars are added to ammonical silver nitrate solution in alkaline medium at elevated temperature, silver will be reduced and it will get precipitated, and thus reduced precipitated silver will stick on the inner walls of the test tube, which will make it as a silver mirror, right? So fructose, which is a ketose, will also involve in this reaction after it gets tautomerizes to become aldehyde group, and then it will answer. So the precipitation of the formation of silver mirror is the indication for this test, right? And the important point is fructose will also answer this test. Second one is Felling's test. Felling's test or Felling's solution is a solution which contains equal volume of Felling's A and Felling's B, and Felling's A is nothing but copper sulfate pentahydrate solution, and Felling's B is a Rochelle salt, that is a sodium potassium tartrate solution. So when Felling's solution is added to the reducing sugars at higher temperature, red precipitate of Cu2O, right? This precipitate will be obtained, which is a red in color, and glucose and fructose and other reducing sugars will answer this test. The third one is Barfoot test. The Barfoot reagent is copper acetate. Here again copper is in 2+ oxidation state, so it will get reduced to copper 1+ oxidation state as Cu2O, which will be black red color, right? Black red color precipitate, and that is the indication for the presence of carbohydrates or reducing sugars. The fourth one is Benedict's test. Benedict's solution is a combination of sodium citrate, sodium carbonate and aqueous solution of copper sulfate, and when Benedict's mixture is Benedict's solution is added with reducing sugars and boiled at a higher temperature, blue precipitate is obtained, which will change to orange color or red in color. Okay, so initially blue color will be obtained, which will turn to orange or red color. So that is the indication for the presence of reducing sugars. The fifth one is Molish test. Alcoholic solution of alpha naphthol is called Molish reagent, and when carbohydrates are added with Molish reagent, followed by a few drops of concentrated sulfuric acid, two distinct layers will form, right? And in that junction of these two layers, a violet ring will form, right? That is the indication. So violet ring, a beautiful violet ring will form at the junction of these two layers, which is a confirmation for carbohydrates. The last one is Lugos iodine test. Lugos reagent is nothing but iodine dissolved in potassium hydroxide, so I will get a I3- ion, which is a polyhalide ion. Okay, and this ion, when it reacts with starch, okay, starch, this is a confirmatory test for starch, it will give you blue color, okay, blue color, and using this reaction we can confirm the presence of starch. So the second one is test for lipids. The first one is grease spot test or brown bag test. When the lipid compound is smeared on a piece of paper, after a while, if the paper becomes translucent, then it may be a lipid, right? It is also called as brown bag test. The second one is a Sudan red test. So Sudan it will be called as a Sudan 3 or Sudan 4 dye, which is in red color, and it is a fat soluble dye. When this dye is added with lipids or triglycerides or lipoproteins, it will stain them and will give a red color, right? So that is the indication for the presence of lipids or lipoproteins or triglycerides. The third one is test for proteins. In this part, we are going to look at an anhydrine test first. So alpha amino acids will answer this test. Actually, a solution of anhydrine in acetone is added with alpha amino acids to get a bluish purple color. Okay, when I add this, I'll get a blue or purple color, which is an indication for the presence of alpha amino acid. The second one is biuret test. It is also called as Petrosky test. And alkaline solution of very dilute copper sulfate solution is the reagent. Okay, when I add this reagent to the protein with at least one peptide linkage, this will give you the violet color, right? So the nitrogen atoms present in the peptide bonds will coordinate with the copper 2 plus ion to give this purple color. So purple color is the indication for the presence of peptide linkage. The third one is isoelectric pH test, which is a confirmative test of kind. So we know that the isoelectric point is the pH at which amino acid neither moves to the cathode nor to the anode, right? It is like a fingerprint for the given amino acid. At the isoelectric point, this protein has minimum solubility and tend to precipitate out because of the absence of electrostatic repulsive force that is present among the protein molecules due to their neutrality. Okay, so the protein molecules will come together and coagulate and to form a precipitate. So this is a very important test. And the last one is salt saturation test, and the reagent is ammonium sulfate. When amino acids are added with ammonium sulfate in excess until it doesn't dissolve anymore, you need to allow it to stand for a while, and the solution should be observed. Formation of any white precipitate is the indication for the presence of albumin in the solution. Okay, so I'll write a white precipitate formation, right, which can be further confirmed with biuret test. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I believe these tests are very useful for your preparation in the competitive examinations. Please do share, comment and subscribe. They mean a lot to me. Okay, thank you. Happy learning.